Hey there guys, and welcome to the second installment of the Speedrun/Greatest Build series. In the previous episode, we managed to achieve a fully quested Granite Mauler with Mithril Gloves, Achievement Diaries, 70 range, and the Preyerless Fire Cape, all within less than a single day. In this episode, we're going to step it up a notch by creating the perfect tank with the final goal of achieving 75 defense with only 10 hit points. Not only that, we'll also gain absolutely zero experience in HP, making it quite honestly one of the toughest builds to create. The first thing to do on any restricted account is to tackle the Observatory quest, as each player has their own unique ID, which grants them their star sign. The problem is, some give experience to non-corresponding stats to your build, meaning you could miss out on 5 kudos, which could be the deciding factor of whether you get into Fossil Island or not. That plays a big role in the future of this account, so we're definitely going to have to get that one done. Secondly, we'll get the cannon out of the way so we can tackle certain monsters and bosses that we gotta kill for future quests and achievement diary completion. So what we're doing here is quickly completing all the early stat prereqs for achievements and quests that are preferable to finish up early game as they do risk HP and combat experience. The Falador Park. To the naked eye, this holds nothing but violets and roses, however this place holds an encounter that only skillers and 10 HP builds may dread, the infamous duck. Now, normally this wouldn't pose a threat at all, however, seeing that they spawn at least one tile within the pond, we could only use a cannon for the appropriate kill. Or so we thought. So what we've done here is a spawn manipulation kill, in which I'll cover more in depth further in the video. By using the halberd, we could reach the duck and gain the majority damage and finish it off with the main granting us an achievement step completion. Now, moving on to the cave bug. Again, a lot more than meets the eye. These little critters can heal at the speed of about 4 game ticks, making them impossible to poison as they'll re-heal. The poison will kill them, nullifying the kill credit. As shown in the previous kill, we're following the same properties, however this time we're stalling the cannon as it's the only weapon that can one-hit the cave bug without granting any experience when stalled correctly. Moving on with the Joga kill, necessary for completing the Karamja diary, it's more or less imperative to have a little bit of extra food on the ground as the hit points are too high to kill in a single inventory. Here we have to lure one of the Jogas into a safe spot on the second ult to hold the aggression so it doesn't wander off into the firing range of the cannon, risking a chance at range experience. And that's the Joga step complete. Moving on. Alright. Onto the recipe for disaster segment of this episode. Saving Pirate Pete is one of the lengthiest tasks to get out of the way during this build. The issue is mud skippers have reasonably high defense stats in correlation to the gear and stats we have, meaning we hit next to none. Still, this will take around 1 to 2 hours to fully complete. Seeing this segment will take a wee while to get through, I'll use this time to explain exactly how spawn manipulation works. The first and most vital step is to know exactly when the monster will respawn, as you must take into account you have to hit between 0.6 and 0.1 seconds. So in this clip I have the RuneLite plugin NPC indicator activated on my ult, which is counting down the respawn time while I hover my mouse over the stall, ready to click out and instantly attack the NPC. Now, applying all this knowledge together indicates that you've inflicted real damage to the NPC as opposed to passive damage, such as vengeance or recoiling. This is due to the fact that your damage is predetermined, much like NPC's long-range attacks such as Jad, as you can easily tiki mage and range. An easier way to look at this is to reference your current PvP death mechanics. For example, have you ever had your opponent on his last leg sitting at like 20 HP or so, but when you deal the final blow you hit your absolute max hit? Well, this is because your virtual character has actually calculated to finish off your opponent, dealing the maximum amount of damage it can render. However, you don't actually gain the additional experience for that damage dealt. To wrap this all up, think of an NPC in this particular state of combat. It cannot render physical damage as it's nulled before it technically spawns, due to it being in its calculated death cycle. My apologies guys for running off on a tangent, however I have had quite a few of you guys ask me about the fundamentals of these mechanics, and it's viably the only way that I can break it down and simplify it. Moving on to the Kandarin Diary, we have to kill each of the 4 elements without logging out or leaving the particular area. In each room we're going to run slightly different arrangements for the cannon and alts, so let's see how we tackle this. Dealing with the water elemental is fairly simple. You must have one alt to force 3 of the elements into the northwestern corner, while the second alt lures the rest behind the fence, with aggression towards it so it doesn't wander off. The third alt stands directly in front of the elemental spawn and you, so in the case that you miss the hit, the elemental is blocked and you don't have to worry about your HP. Moving on to the wind elemental, this segment's definitely more visual and easier to understand. Just gather all the elements par the one that spawns on this particular tile and hold aggression behind the boxes. With another alt, just stand directly in front of your account to act as a blocker. Quite similar again, the fire elemental only requires 2 alts, one to block your character and one to lure the rest behind the boxes. And finally, the most aggravating, the Earth Elemental. This one's a wee bit different in the case that you have 2 forms of Earth Elementals, static and dynamic. We want to kill the static form, the one that walks around as opposed to the one that is on the ground and you need to mine. We'll tackle this by luring the rest of the static elementals behind the dynamic rock formations, acting as a basic wall in which the cannon cannot fire over. With the crucial Kandarin Diary step complete, we'll move on to the completion of Shiloh Village, which is necessary for one small favour, granting us 20k defense experience after we achieve 30 defense. Now, the reason why we get Shiloh Village done so early is because it's a quest we must chance experience on when aggressing the monsters to finish off with recoil. You can acquire the kill credit to complete this quest by aggressing the monster even if you hit a 0. As long as the monster is attacking you as it dies, it'll register as your own kill. Alright, with Shiloh Village all wrapped up, all that's left to complete every possible diary is to kill the zombie for the Lumbridge and Draenor diary. Here's a quick tip for acquiring your Barbasol armor as early as possible. Make sure to join any one of these BA leeching communities and get them to give you an order number as soon as you create your account. And just ask them to queue you in the regular pool rather than the premium. Their prices are beyond extortionate, as you can pay upwards of 50ml plus for a premium service torso, which the wait time drops from 30 to 50 hours down to 2 to 3. However, if you're queued up for at least a day, you'll pop up as the next assignment above everybody else but the premium purchasers. So just wait till a dead hour and mention that you're online and this will drop the price by almost 50%. Now that we've achieved the torso, we'll move on to the defense training segment of the video. Firstly, we'll quickly finish off the Kleiner Korean for the 2 500 XP lamps that we can put into defense, and then we'll finish off all the remaining quests that grant kudos for the dig site. The Varrock Museum, the home to the dig site finds, or commonly referred to as cleaning specs. We've recently seen a new update in the dig site find area in which they increased the cleaning rate at specs, in turn increasing antique lamp yield per hour. Now that we've achieved 20 defense, we can claim the lamps given to us for completing quests and gaining kudos, all working towards 30 defense with the intentions of starting one small favour. Dealing with a Slagalith is no small feat, however all you need is one ult, preferably with Vengeance, as the boss has a de-aggression timer in which it'll disappear if not finish off quick enough. When performing this particular stall, remember to wield a pickaxe rather than a ranged weapon, as the Slagalith is only weak to pickaxes, even when used indirectly with mage or range. Yo lads, take a quick squiz of this perler of a lure. The dwarves have stumped HP restricted accounts for years, until the discovery of spawn manipulation. The problem was that you couldn't bring a cannon down into this area, and must inflict real damage on the NPCs. But all of that changes with the discovery of game mechanics that have been around forever. All of that effort for 2 10k experience lamps that can be used for any stat above level 30, and most crucially the unlock of Guthix Restores, the absolute saviour of the build, in which you'll see come into play in the coming moments. And here we have it, finally hitting 40 defense, giving us access to full rune. With 40 defense achieved and all the prereqs complete, it's time to face off against our absolute greatest challenge on the account to date, Agrith Nar, the demon who we just cannot seem to get rid of. Firstly, Agrith Nar was more or less trial and error, as fundamentally I knew it was possible without achieving any hit points experience at all. The main issues we ran into were his teleportation mechanic and the rate at which he heals. Also in some cases the server routing of Australian servers through the west coast of America. Thank you Jagex. The first issue to tackle is the re-heal rate of Agrith Nar, which is quite similar to the cave bug, just a little more bearable. We can actually combat this quite simply, by maximising the damage taken per tick cycle, ensuring that we outdamage his re-heal ability, which ties in nicely with our next discovery. What I managed to find out through vigorous testing was that if you kept Agrith Nar on a particular damage cycle, by aligning your tick eating and movement perfectly, you could actually completely ignore his teleportation cycle. However, this really comes down to the server location in correlation to your location. It gets quite wishy-washy when you're in the Oceanic region, however it can still be done. With Shadow of the Storm out of the way and achieving 42 defense, it's time to tackle all the rest of the diaries we've previously worked towards. And there we go guys, finally achieving the rest of the lamps to reach 45 defense and the start of something great to come. And also the beginning of the perfect defense tank. If you guys enjoyed the content today, please make sure to slap that like and subscribe button as it keeps me on my toes and keen to pump out more videos. I'm really enjoying this new editing software and I still have a lot to learn, however, all the videos from now on are only going to get better and better. Nevertheless guys, stay well and take it easy.